Welcome back to TribPreps. I'm Eric Lee alongside Todd Sommerfeldt, and we're here to recap another week of high school football
On Saturday morning.
on Saturday morning.
I mean, barely, but still, it's Saturday morning.
It's still Saturday morning. We'll run through the scores real quick, dive into our games. You know the drill at this point. I was at our Aquinas Arcadia, and that's a win for the Blue Golds, 45-14. You were at West Salem Anna, and that's the Panthers picking up a 32-28 win. Sounds like an exciting game. Can't wait to hear all about it.
Yes.
Central gets back in the win column, 52-0 over Toma. Holman over Sparta, 42-20. Westby over Black River Falls, 50-26. Altoona beats GET, 45-28. In the Ridge and Valley, DeSoto over Waziga-Steuben Seneca, 30-0. In the Scenic Bluffs, Cashton, 37-16. Brookwood falling to the New Lisbon, 28-6. In the Dairyland, Whitehall beats Blair Taylor, 22-14. Melmin beating CFC, 31-0.
Yeah.
Prairie du Chien, 24-14 over Platteville. Over in Minnesota, Caledonia falling to 1-3. They lose to Altura, 21-14. The Crescent Hoka still looking for its first win of the season. They fall to Lords, 49-8. Bangor, its first loss of the season to Spencer Marshfield Columbus, 28-27, and Viroqua loses to Somerset, 52-6. Let's start with your game. It seems like
Brett McConkey.
Yeah.
Or CJ McConkey, take your pick. Brett McConkey played really well. And Onalaska did a lot of things very well, too. West Salem gets the win when McConkey goes 39 yards. Minute 23 left, and then West Salem goes for the kickoff. They kind of squib it to about the 30. Onalaska can't get on it. CJ McConkey, who's out there on kickoff,
right,
goes down there, recovers the ball, and West Salem runs out the clock. So that's probably what West Salem needed, was that, because of the way Onalaska moved the ball today. They moved it very well tonight, through the air and on the ground. Used a lot of Nick Odom tonight, a lot of sweeps with him and throwing the ball to him. He had a good night. That was obviously their plan. But yeah, both offenses played very well. We always talk about West Salem's defense, but boy, the offense answered every time Onalaska hit it with something. West Salem came back. Onalaska took its last lead with about 2 minutes left, and West Salem calmly went out there and hit a big pass, and next thing you know, McConkey's going off the right side for 39 yards. So, again, just a really good offensive night for both of these teams. Onalaska dominated time of possession, which is what it wanted to do, and West Salem went out there and hit the explosive plays.
Wow.
To win the game.
Walk me through you talk about the time of possession, but walk me through even the play count that you were saying earlier.
It was I think it was high 60s for Onalaska and high 30s for West Salem.
Man.
West Salem had 360 some yards on 39 plays. So it wasn't all explosive, but there were a lot of explosives in there. McConkey made some really nice throws down the field to Jack Haley. Threw one incomplete pass the whole game, and that was on the final drive.
Okay.
So, a minute and a half left, maybe, threw his only incomplete pass. So he was on, and on a lot of those, Onalaska had decent coverage too. It's not like he was finding people wide open. Some of the passes were short passes, and obviously the guy's open there, but on just little dump passes. But when he was going downfield, I thought Onalaska had pretty decent coverage. He just put it where it needed to be, and his receivers made good plays. But it was just another night of CJ McConkey being everywhere. Making hits. Like I said, he got that fumble recovery. They had another turnover in the second quarter, and followed it up immediately with a trick play on a pass from Andy Johnson to Brett McConkey. So he ran for one, he caught one, he passed one.
Trifecta.
Yep. But it was a new trick play they just put in this week. They practiced it a couple of times, he said, in practice, and went out there and executed it perfectly. So Andy Johnson made a nice throw, left-handed, was a quarterback as a freshman, so, can make the play. And Brett said all he was trying to do was not drop it. He was that wide open. So, but it was only a 12-7 game at the half, so a lot of the fireworks came in the second half of this one. West Salem defense didn't play the way it typically does. Anna had a lot to do with that. The line I thought played again very well tonight, but bottom line, if you're on Alaska, is you got a loss in this one, and now you got to win 2 of the last 3 to call yourself a playoff team. So they kind of have their work cut out for them, as do we have a lot of 2-2 NPC teams that have to win 2 of the last 3 after what happened tonight.
Right. So, yeah. Over in the coulee, I didn't see quite as exciting of a game as you did.
Some impressive play.
But I saw some impressive play. I mean, Aquinas just continues to impress, and I don't know. I guess at this point we kind of expect a lot of it from a lot of these guys. Like Flotmeyer was crisp again, 10 of 14, and one of those attempts was a spike technically.
Okay.
So for 2 of 2 and 2 touchdowns, both touchdowns coming in the first half.
And Miskowski, of course.
Miskowski had 3 for 89 and a touchdown. He had a ridiculous catch for Flotmeyer's second touchdown. They had the ball at the 30, and Miskowski had his man beat, and Flotmeyer was maybe a touch late on the throw, and I went back and watched the video. It looked like he had a little bit of pressure, so he couldn't quite step into the throw. But like watching it live, it just looked like he just threw it up for grabs almost.
Okay. Well, when things are going the way they're going this year,
sure,
Aquinas, you can do that one.
Sure, and Miskowski came down with it. I mean, it was kind of a fight for the ball even once they landed on the ground, but he came down with it. It was a great catch. There was another. He had a 55-yard catch in the second half, where it was typical. Just he was managed to get behind the defense down the middle of the field, like we've seen him do time and time again. He actually did that. I think it was on the opening drive of the game, or Aquinas' first drive of the game, but Flotmeyer actually missed him, which was a rare miss. But Flotmeyer ends up coming back and makes a ridiculous throw on 4th and goal to Jack Christensen in the back of the end zone, while evading a rush, and Caden Updike is barreling down on him, and he puts it in a window off of 1 foot. It was.
He showed me that was a pretty amazing throw.
It was a good throw. It was a really good throw. The interesting thing about this game, though, was that after the first half, so first half score was 30-6 Aquinas, so they were firmly in control at half. But Arcadia had outgained them 119 to 118. Part of that's because Flotmeyer was sacked twice in the first half. Part of it's also because the Aquinas defense was really good. Forced 3 turnovers all in the first half. So there are a couple short fields that Aquinas had to work with. 2 of those turnovers resulted in Aquinas touchdowns, including Arcadia tried to throw a halfback pass on the first play of the game, and Chris Wilson picked it, and then Aquinas goes down and scores.
Just people all over the field to make plays for that team.
Yeah, there really are.
Calvin Hargrove too, he said.
Yeah, he only had 7 carries, but he had 51 yards and a touchdown. David Moline had 2 touchdown runs. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Tom Lee said that. I asked him about Chris Wilson. He's like, yeah, sometimes I wonder if our best wide receivers are playing defensive back and our best defensive backs are playing wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he's like, we could also give the ball to Calvin Hargrove 15 or 20 times a game, but we decided to not to.
Yeah.
All very valid points. Colin Kazemius returned a kickoff for a touchdown, too, in the first half. And, I mean, we all know how fast that kid is. If you get him into space, and he was gone. He bobbled it originally, and he was on near the right sideline, and the return was like a return left, and so he's like racing across the field to try to get there, and he gets like maybe a quarter of the way there, and just puts his foot in the ground and goes back to the right because everybody was flowing so hard, and he just hit this one little gap, and then he was gone down the right sideline, and nobody's gonna catch him because he's Colin Kazemius.
So we got the Blue Goats have a one-sided victory over Altoona.
Yep.
One-sided victory over Westby.
Yep.
One-sided victory over Arcadia.
Yep.
So it's looking like the conference is going to be theirs. They have Prescott, right?
In 2 weeks.
Is that in a non-conference game?
Yep, in 2 weeks.
So there'll at least be a test there, I think, going into postseason.
Yep, and Prescott still only has 1 loss. They beat Baldwin Woodville tonight, and they play Ellsworth next week. Prescott does. So we'll really know going into that week what Aquinas had, like kind of what they've got going up against them.
Yeah, I didn't
For
see
sure.
what Ellsworth did tonight, but they've been scoring over 50 points a game, and it will be a very good gauge for that Prescott team. I saw Ellsworth play almost 3/4
Right.
of a
Yeah.
game against
Yeah.
West Salem. West Salem was down 20-14 when the Lightning ended that one, and they didn't finish the game. So, but I thought West Salem was pretty impressive that night against Ellsworth, but like I said, they're scoring over 50 against everybody else. So
Right.
that would let us know if Aquinas is going to have a challenge before we get to the postseason.
Right. Yeah.
At this point.
Elsewhere, Central beating up Toma.
Holman's back.
Holman's back. Yeah, that's another one of those teams like you're talking about on Alaska where they've got some work to do here, but
Yes.
they could certainly do it.
Yeah, got to win 2 of the last 3. They still have Central, Logan, and West Salem. So,
It's tough,
yeah,
but doable.
especially playing the way they're playing now.
Right.
I mean, Luke LeClaire, 7 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it is. Having a good year, showing more command of the offense there. Obviously, and I didn't look at the stats that closely. They must not be having the turnover issues they had at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Playing better defense.
Yeah, forcing 3 turnovers too.
Yep. So I mean that's Holman football, and we're starting to see that this team can play that game too.
Yeah. Westby with a nice win too. So they're now 3-3 and 2-2 in the conference.
DeSoto, 26 years in a row in the playoffs.
That's just nuts.
Yeah, and they're going 8-man next year. So
Right.
they finish off the 11-man run as a program in the right way. Cashton back on track.
Yep, still
this week.
unbeaten in the Scenic Bluffs. Bangor losing a close one, and they scored late. Or I don't know how late, but they scored in the fourth quarter to bring them within 1.
Yeah, to get to the final margin.
To get to the
So
final
last
margin,
touchdown.
and they went for 2 and they didn't get it. So I mean, you're a 2-point conversion away from winning that game, and the Cardinals being unbeaten still. Tanner Jones with 22 carries for 146 and 2 touchdowns. Bangor also, Ashton Mission threw for 2 touchdowns, and then usually when you hear something like that, you'd be like, okay, well, Bangor's in really good shape.
Yep.
And they did. They averaged 8.2 yards per play, but they lost 3 fumbles.
That hurts.
So yeah, that'll do it. This is something else that I thought was interesting. When do you feel like the last time was that you heard this kind of a stat line, somebody rushing the ball against Bangor, a single player rushing the ball against Bangor, 30 carries for 223 and 3 touchdowns.
Doesn't happen.
No.
Used to happen, hasn't happened in a long time.
So
That
Bangor led 7-0 early, gave up 16 points, fought back to 16, 15 and a half, and then they just traded touchdowns in the second half. Just couldn't get over the hump.
Here's an interesting thing, just looking at your sheet there. I'm curious when the last time was Bangor and Caledonia lost on the same night.
Huh.
I should have looked that up.
I bet that's been quite a long time.
Yes, 2 teams with a lot of wins under their belt the last 10 years.
Yeah, and like we said, Caledonia is now 1-3. It's just not what we expected. I mean, we've just come to. I don't think we thought that it would be the same Caledonia team, right? But you don't expect this.
Yeah, and Lewiston is a team that has always kind of been, if someone's going to give them a game, Lewiston will be one of those teams. And it's been a long time since Lewiston's been able to do that, even though it's been a good team.
Right.
Caledonia's always up for that game, and I thought tonight we might see that.
Mm-hmm.
But big win. Anytime you beat Caledonia is a big win for your program. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what kind of team they are. I mean, I
Right.
think they turned the ball over a little bit tonight. The offense is just having a tough time getting on track, and the defense isn't what it's been. So again, just one of those years for Caledonia, and they haven't had one of those in a long, long time.
Yeah. I think that wraps up our run through tonight. Unless you feel like
so.
There's something else to hit here.
No, I'm good win for Melrose tonight.
Yeah, good win
Throw
for
that out
Melrose.
there.
A
That's 2 in a row.
shutout win for them.
Beating Blair last week and CFC this week. That's
Yep.
a nice little run for the Mustangs.
Indeed, and you can find a story on that on our website,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find a bunch of other coverage
We
from
hope so.
tonight on our website. So we're gonna have some things here and there, trying to figure out the new layout and whatnot. But we've been told that it should feed you guys more sports content, so we're hoping to see that.
And there's lots of it on there from tonight.
Yeah, and
game stories and a big roundup of all the games we weren't at. And like I said, we have 3 game stories up this week, getting that Mel Min up there. Thanks to Andrew Tucker over at the Winona Daily News for that.
Yep. And we'll have photos, like I said, videos. You can always find videos, highlight videos and videos like these on our YouTube page. You can subscribe. This is a great way to start your Saturday morning, right?
Yeah.
Just, if you don't want to stay up
if you don't
super
wanna wait
late,
for
if
us
you don't
on-
want to stay
till-
up late and watch it late, you can watch it Saturday morning. Just grab a cup of coffee, mug of orange juice, whatever your forte is.
Yeah.
Watch this video and check out our website, thetslacrossetribune.com, for all of our stuff. That's just the easiest place to find it.
And hopefully the new design will, like I said, help make things easier to find and get more out to you. So
Yeah. All right. Well, we hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks for watching.
thanks.